Hey, welcome back to the fine line between stupid and clever. And I decided at the last minute in the middle of a project that I was going to make a video about it. I figured why not? Somebody might find it interesting. Anyway, this project is going to be about relicking a brand new acoustic guitar. This is in line with a project that I did years ago when I had an old janky Ibanez acoustic guitar that was kind of ruined, that I sanded the finish off of the top of the guitar and stained it to look old and put a stained version of the Colorado flag on it. And it was a neat guitar that I took camping with my family, and I got rid of it a couple of years ago because it was not very playable, and it is now sitting in some guy's ski condo as wall art, which is great. But I decided I wanted to revitalize the concept, and I wanted something, instead of something that was just a piece of junk, I wanted something that's relatively playable. So doing a little bit of research in my recent enjoyment of buying cheap guitars on Amazon, I found this $89 thin line acoustic guitar. Sorry, it's all taped up and the strings are off of it, obviously, because I'm in the middle of the project. But it's called a Jasmine guitar. And there's tons of videos online about it being a really great bang for your buck. And I thought, why not? What could go wrong? Once I got it in the mail yesterday, I tuned it up and played it, and I thought, yes, this is going to fit the project pretty well. I've already redone the frets on it a little bit. It does take a little bit of work. I mean, if you've got some basic skills with some simple tools and can do some basic fret leveling, adjustment of a truss rod, and a few simple things like that, you can take these cheap guitars off of Amazon and really make them playable and nice. Anyway, so I have already taped this up. I deleted the sticker for the Jasmine guitar, which was just a crappy piece of paper stuck on with glue in the sound hole, and I've already sanded off the finish off of the headstock and put my stupid clever logo on there, just to make it my own and things. And now I am going to gently, carefully remove the finish off of the spruce top in an attempt to expose natural wood that can be stained in two fashions. I'm going to use a trick that I've used before, which is steel wool dissolved in vinegar creates this oxidation stain. So if you put it to raw wood, it ages the wood immediately, makes it look really kind of gray and old. And I've done it on guitars before. It's really cool trick, and hopefully that'll work on this. The trick is, on a cheap guitar like this, it's definitely a plywood top. It is definitely not a solid spruce top. And so the danger is going to be, as I'm taking off the polyurethane finish on the guitar, is to not burn through the paper thin layer of wood grain into the plywood underneath, which inevitably will happen at spaces throughout the guitar, but that's going to be okay because the whole thing's going to be reliced to look old and gray and beat up when it's all said and done. So the other thing that I found out yesterday, I just went looking on Amazon. I'm obviously going to sand through the rosette that's just kind of embedded into the finish of this guitar. But I purchased on Amazon, again, for like $8, a decal rosette that will go right around the exact dimension of this sound hole. So when I'm all said and done, I'm going to have kind of a reliced thin line acoustic that is not old, and hopefully will be nice and playable and suitable for campground trips back to the camping with the family, I hope. Anyway, stick around. The next thing I'm going to do is start sanding the top. I'm going to take it into my little milling room so I can make some dust. It's a great day for this. It's about 4 degrees outside, so I'm working inside today. And I'm going to start with a 600 grit sandpaper on my orbital sander. I don't have the patience to do this by hand. That's just not in the cards for me. I don't have that personality. I'm not that detail oriented. But we're going to take it really slow, and we'll see if we can get the finish off of this, and then we'll show you how the different kinds of finishes work, and we'll possibly put the Colorado flag in this with some stain as well. Stick around. Hope you enjoy the video. Don't bother subscribing. I've got a day job. Otherwise, if you're going to leave comments, please be kind. Take care. Okay, so after about 45 minutes of sanding, and I did get a little bit braver, I used 320 grit sandpaper, also interspersed a little 220 grit once I got confident that I wasn't going to burn through everything too quickly. Although I did, it's hard to see now because it's but there's one spot right up here, the top end of the sound hole, where I started to burn through the veneer, and as I expected, the wood grain is paper thin before you get to the plywood side. So once I recognized I was going to burn through, then instead of like really committing to a full, complete, perfect sand of all the grain, I started going in a linear fashion with the edge of the orbital sander to kind of create, and I don't think this is showing up very well in the video, but it's now kind of splotchy. I'm through all of the grain in some spots. There's other spots where there's just a little bit of the finish left and things. So it's going to be kind of intermittent uptake of the stain and in different penetrance of the stain. So it's going to be a very mottled kind of look, which is what I'm looking for, what I'm going for. If you were going to try and refinish one of these tops of these guitars in a completely uniform color, that would be a nightmare just because the veneer is so thin on the plywood. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply my vinegar stain, and we'll see how much of it gets taken up. I'll know within an hour or so whether I like it or not. If I don't like it, I can go back and I can sand more to get more penetrance of the stain later. Anyway, so I'll take a video of that, and we'll actually time-lapse the administration of the vinegar stain and how long it takes. I'll give it like an hour, and we'll time-lapse it for an hour so you can see as it changes color, which might be pretty cool. I'm also going to be putting the vinegar stain on the headstock to clean that up as well. Enjoy. So the first round of staining came up with some kind of unusual results. For one thing, the stain that did get into the grain came out with a rusty red color, which could be because my vinegar and steel wool is pretty old and kind of rusty looking. It's been in the same jar for like 6 months. Or it could be just that's the way that this wood takes the stain a little bit differently. On the headstock, it came out more gray and aged looking, which is kind of more typical than I expected. You can also see that the headstock has got a glue joint right in the middle of it, so I think that's what you get from a $89 guitar. Who knows where else the neck is glued together in laminated wood, but I'll take what I can get. No big deal. So the other thing I noticed was there's a lot of spots that didn't take up any of the stain at all, which is where there is still some finish left in the grain there. To get that to take up. Now, the nice thing about it is though I can see exactly where I still need to sand more of the finish off, and then I can slowly go back, rinse and repeat until I'm satisfied with the uptake of the stain before I move on to the next step. You can also see that the orbital sander doesn't do a good job at all getting around the bridge here, so I'm going to use my fine sander, which is a battery powered like vibrating triangular sander, to get into some of these areas, hopefully without exposing too much of the plywood underneath. The other interesting thing is that the area where I did burn through, the plywood underneath doesn't take up the stain very well at all. So, and also you can see here along the edge where it definitely went through the grain and did not take up stain. So I want to avoid doing much more of that if I can. So I'm not going to bother filming the rest of the sanding process and the repeat staining. We'll jump ahead to when we're ready to map out the flag on the guitar. Okay, so after about 3 more trips, here's what I finally came up with. It's obviously not uniform, it's not perfect. I even left this strip along the side, kind of where the arm can create wear patterns in guitars. I think that's good, but I did manage to get the stain around the bridge a little bit better, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. The other thing is, the thing that's kind of funny about the red color is that the rest of the finish on the guitar is kind of this orange color, so it kind of blends in okay. Why fight it? I'm going to go with it, so it's going to be cool. Next step is to start designing where I'm going to put the Colorado flag emblems on here and get some stain for that. I'm also going to, once I map it out with pencil, I'm going to burn the lines in the guitar for the outline with a little wood burning tool, just a simple wood etching tool. The Colorado flag in the guitar is kind of a thing that I've been doing for a long time. It's actually become the logo of a charity event that we're now going on our 4th annual event this spring. I've built maybe 4 or 5 guitars with the Colorado flag logo in it, in different variations, and I've donated 3 of them to silent auctions at some of our gigs, and they've always done really well. So this is kind of something I'm sure I'm going to do more of. This is a really fun way to do it on an acoustic. I've done it on electrics before, and hollow body electric looks pretty good. Anyway, stay tuned, and we'll talk about how we're going to map it out. So the Colorado flag is really simple because it's all straight proportions. I started by setting the width of the center white line with the width of the sound hole. And then I decided to place the center of the yellow sun and the red C over the center part of the bridge right here. So obviously the yellow sun in the middle is the diameter of the stripe here. And then the diameter of the red C is just one more radius beyond that, completely proportional. So once I mapped out the lines of the stripe and drew the circle for the yellow sun, then I was able to figure out where the red lines of the C are going to cross that line. I was able to draw these lines. Now I can take up the tape and then map out the rest of the C, and I'll have it all mapped out. So there's our Colorado outline on the guitar. I'm actually quite happy with it. It's even a little bit rough. It's not going to be laser level by any means, but for this purpose, I think it's going to be great. Next is to burn some of those lines in with wood etcher. Okay, so that was very easy. I got all my lines burned into the top there. Also, that'll help keep the color stain from bleeding into the next color. Hopefully that's going to go well. So for the colors, I'm using this, what is this? Minwax water-based wood stain that I've been doing all of these. I've got white, yellow, blue, and red for the Colorado flag colors. I'm going to start subtle, and I'm going to dilute this about half and half with water first to see how aggressive I want to be. I could always add another coat later if I want to. I'm going to start with the white stripe down the middle and the yellow in the center, and then the blue on the sides. I'm going to wait and do the red last because there might just be enough red in the rusty red stain already that I won't need it. Okay, so here is the finished product after staining, and I can't be more happy with it right now. I am not adding any red to the previous red that was already there. It's kept the colors kind of muted and roughed in. I think it worked very, very well. The next step, the final step, is I'm just going to use some good old wipe-on polyurethane. Probably do 3 coats of this in a satin finish. And those need 4 hours to dry in between coats before we string it up and see what's going on. I was really happy that even in those spots where the vinegar stain did not pick up at all, there was some staining of the wood and the plywood that was underneath that got some blue hints in here, so it doesn't look like there's 3 or 4 colors on it. So there you go. The other thing I really don't think I'm going to do is I'm not going to bother putting a rosette around the sound hole. I think that would just make it too busy and offset attention from the Colorado C. So yeah, next step, polyurethane, string it up, play it. Here it is, all complete. I'm going to show you some of the detail on it. I gotta say, it turned out a lot better than I thought it would. First, we'll go with the headstock. This is after 3 coats of a satin polyurethane. And I'm really pleased with the overall effect. And there you have it. Really like this area here with some of the detail. You can see some of the old red in there, the blue, a little the lighter blue, where it burned through. But overall, definitely what I thought was good. Hope you liked the video. Who knows, this might be something you might want to find an old junker guitar and try out just for some wall art if you'd like to. Anyway, don't bother subscribing to the channel. If you have comments, please be kind. Love your family, take care of your neighbors. Have a great day.